My name is Andrew Erickson. Today I'm diving in head first to identify 10 players to trade before Week 7 kicks off. But before I get to my list, if you want a chance to win a signed Christian Kirk Jacksonville Jaguars jersey, courtesy of bettingpros.com, you're players to start betting smarter and not harder. All you have to do is subscribe to the FantasyPros YouTube channel right now, comment below on this video, and that's it. We'll be announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to the trade list. Running back Damen Pierce, Houston Texans. Devin Singletary took the lead in Week 6, carrying the ball 12 times for 58 yards, averaging 4.8 yards per carry. He led the backfield with a 54% snap share. He ran a route on 56% of the dropbacks, which boosted his total snap numbers. Meanwhile, Damen Pierce contributed 13 carries for 34 yards. It was bizarre to see Singletary play so much after not tallying any carries in Week 5. He led the team in carries in the first half, 9-8, and Pierce was held to just a 33% snap share. But Pierce had the chance for a score that was blown dead by the whistle. Also, his 4 yards per carry somewhat contributed to him getting stuffed at the goal line 3 times. With Carolina coming after the bye week, and the Texans' offensive line finally getting healthy, I'd be looking at Pierce as a sharp buy low target. He still started the game and entered Week 6 with back-to-back games with 20-plus carries in one game where Singletary saw 0 rushing attempts. D'Amico Ryans talked about a more balanced approach with the running game after the game, which still suggests that Pierce is still the lead back, even if Singletary is spelling him on certain occasions, as he was already doing at points this season. Pierce is still a 0 in the passing game, but should he have more productive games when Houston is playing more competitively? And most importantly, he is seeing the red zone usage, which is what leads to the most fantasy points. Buy Pierce with James Cook, Javonte Williams, Alexander Madison, or this next sell-high wide receiver. Wide receiver Adam Thielen, Carolina Panthers. Thielen was targeted an impressive 13 times in Week 6. He hauled in 11 of them for 115 yards and found the end zone once, confirming his role as the Panthers' top receiver with a 37% target share. He is the wide receiver of 5.5 PPR scoring, but I'd cash out now. He's 33-year-old and has missed games due to injuries in the past. The Panthers are highly likely to add another wide receiver before the trade deadline, and the team is shifting offensive play calling to Thomas Brown, which could shift the targets in the offense. After all, despite Thielen's great accomplishments, the team is still 0-6, and they may change their approach after their bye week. 3 of Thielen's 4 touchdowns have come in the fourth quarter of games, which is garbage time at its finest. Carolina leads all teams offensively in plays run and first downs in the fourth quarter. Sell Thielen for Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, or this next buy low wide receiver. Wide receiver Devonte Smith, Philadelphia Eagles. Smith and Dallas Goedert contributed in Week 6, but not nearly to the level of A.J. Brown. Smith had all the targets he could handle with a team-high 11 targets, 26% target share, 154 air yards, but finished with just 5 catches for 44 yards. Woof. The Dolphins, Commanders, and Cowboys are over the Eagles' next 3 games. Buy low on Devonte Smith. The usage, the routes, the matchups, and the talent are all there for the taking. Buy Smith with CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Calvin Ridley, or this next running back sell-high candidate. Running back Josh Jacobs, Las Vegas Raiders. Josh Jacobs carried the load on the ground with 25 rushing attempts, gaining 77 yards in Week 6. While he didn't find the end zone, his hard-nosed running style kept the offense moving. Alas, 7 red zone carries resulted in 0 touchdowns. Jacobs ranks 5th at the red zone carries, but has just 2 red zone touchdowns, 2 touchdowns altogether this season. Even if Jacobs struggles versus an underrated Bears defense this week, he should be able to be effective as a receiver. However, from a bigger picture, I think Jacobs is a sharp sell-high candidate. Bears have an underrated run defense overall. The Lions have an elite run defense. Those are the next 2 matchups for Josh Jacobs, who has been supremely underwhelming this season. Dead last in fantasy points scored above expectation, 2.9 yards per carry on the year. Sell Josh Jacobs for Devontae Adams, Tony Pollard, Brandon Ayuk, or this next buy low wide receiver. Wide receiver Puka Nacua, Los Angeles Rams. Cooper Kupp remained the wide receiver 1 for the Rams with 7 catches for 148 yards and 1 touchdown in Week 6. But the targets remained concentrated between Kupp and Puka Nacua, who still saw 7 targets for a 33% target share. Although Nacua had his worst game to date, just 4 for 26, and he dropped a touchdown, but it's the perfect opportunity to buy low. He and Kupp ran a route on 100% of the dropbacks. Snag Nacua ahead of a plus matchup versus the Steelers with CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, or this next sell-high wide receiver. Wide receiver Chris Olave, New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr's primary target was Chris Olave in Week 6, who was targeted 10 times and secured 7 receptions for 96 yards, averaging 13.7 yards per catch. However, just a 22% target share with 157 air yards. Through 6 games, Olave has a 25% target share. It's just rinse and repeat about how many times Derek Carr misses Chris Olave deep on his throws. Olave ranks 3rd in fantasy points scored under expectation this year, while Michael Thomas ranks 5th. Seems like there's a quarterback problem in New Orleans. Therefore, Olave remains a sell for me. He has 4 red zone targets through 6 games, 1 touchdown. Derek Carr's inability to convert in the red zone or downfield is nuking his wide receivers for fantasy football. Sell Olave before Thursday night for Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Brandon Ayuk, Amari Cooper, or package him to get this next buy low running back. Running back, Bejon Robinson, Atlanta Falcons. Running backs Tyler Algier and Bejon Robinson split the ground game duties in week 6, with each receiving 13 carries. While the rushing attack didn't find the end zone, the pair combined for 88 yards, demonstrating their ability to move the chains. Even so, Robinson was a reliable receiver out of the backfield, catching 5 passes for 43 yards, contributing to the passing game's success. 8 targets, 18% target share. Been preaching this for a while, but you have to buy low on Bejon Robinson. 18% target share on the year. His 77% snap share was his 2nd highest mark of the year last week. He led the team in routes run with 45. He also saw 2 red zone carries to Algier's 4. Now, though it might be early, the Falcons' playoff schedule is elite for Bejon Robinson. Grab the talented rookie with the likes of Josh Jacobs or Jonathan Taylor, or use this wide receiver to package the deal. Wide receiver Teran McClaren, Washington Commanders. In the receiving game, Teran McClaren was the primary target in week 6, receiving 11 targets and catching 6 passes for 81 yards, showcasing his ability to move the chains and create explosive plays. The game plan was built around targeting TMC at all costs, with him posting a 52% target share. Considering this has not been nearly what the Commanders have done at any point this season, I'd sell high on the outlier performance. They've spread the ball out to all the wide receivers and tight ends this year, which doesn't bode well for McLaurin long term. Deal McLaurin straight up for Chris Godwin, Marquise Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Jacoby Myers, or the ultimate buy low wide receiver in all of fantasy football land. Wide receiver T. Higgins, Cincinnati Bengals. T. Higgins was a major bust in week 6 again, with 2 catches for 20 yards on 4 targets. He's had 1 good game this season. But it's worth noting they did not play a full-time role last week, 56% participation, as he continues to deal with the rib injury. But with a bye week, I think we'll be getting a much healthier version of T. Higgins, making him a screaming buy low on his bye week. Again, I say this because his production is going to regress positively. Higgins has always been a fantasy wide receiver 2 throughout his entire 3-year career. Currently, he is wide receiver 64, but it's justified based on the injury and the slow start for the offense. He won't finish that poorly over the rest of the season. He is the quintessential definition of a buy low wide receiver with the most fantasy points scored under expectation. Higgins is wide receiver 21 in expected points per game, wide receiver 58 in actual points per game. Acquire Higgins with Adam Thielen, Deebo Samuel, or with this next sell high wide receiver. Wide receiver Drake London, Atlanta Falcons. Drake London emerged as the primary target in week 6, receiving 12 targets, 27% target share, catching 9 passes for an impressive 125 yards. After a week 1 dud, London has been a straight-up target hog for the Falcons, with a team-high 23% target share. Still, I can't help but view him as a sell high. Desmond Ridder notoriously plays worse on the road than at home, and that has trickled into London's splits this year. On the road this season, he has not exceeded 32 yards or 3 catches. The Falcons rank dead last in pass rate over expectation this year because they want to run the football at all costs. The game script have led to back-to-back 300-yard passing games for Desmond Ridder, which will hardly be the case every single week. With him hitting the road, the next 2 matchups, you have to fade Drake London, sell high on the Falcons' #1 wide receiver. And that's going to tie a bow on my top 10 players to trade before week 7 kicks off. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. And again, check out the rest of the season rankings over at FantasyPros.com to help you with all your trades. But before you go, again, remember, if you want a chance to win a signed Christian Kirk Jacksonville Jaguars jersey, courtesy of bettingpros.com, your place to start betting smarter and not harder, all you have to do is subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel right now, comment below this video, and that is it. We're announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. Thanks for watching.